afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. We are checking to make sure that we are live. Let me do one last check. All right. Things are looking good. I'm sure, Christopher, with all the lives that you have done, doing a live is life in reality.
Yeah. And anything live requires a great deal of patience.
All right. We are just waiting on confirmation. Come on. Here it comes. Yes, we are live. Woo, woo, woo. I am Tisch McDaniel, and I am founder and CEO of Choose to Win Every Day, and I am a co-author in the book, Life's Checkmark. And I always have to get my little cheat sheet because the rest of the title is so profound. Inspiring Journeys Beyond Life's Expected Path. And our life today is a little different than what we have done the last 3 or 4 that we've done. We have another co-author with us, and we're going to change up the format just a little so that we can have fun, engaging, and it's going to be a little challenging talking through some of the things, life's journey, not the expected path that a lot of us want to take. I have with me here today other co-authors, my niece, Lindsay Stadel, my great niece, Lindsay's daughter, Cassidy Kloth, and my brother from another mother, Christopher J. Wesley. So, but before we start, let me shout out to the publisher, Jonathan Emery. We had so much fun yesterday afternoon with chatting with Jonathan. And if you saw it yesterday, we joked with him about being dad because he's in charge of 20 co-authors. And I gave her a new title, Giselle Quintanilla, the project manager. I have called her the production manager, and we have labeled her with mom. So yesterday, talking with mom and dad was just so much fun, wasn't it, Cassidy and Lindsay?
It was a blast.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. So here today we get to talk with another family member, and as you see the flyer, it's a family affair, and we'll go into a little bit of that in just a minute. So Jonathan turned his podcast into an anthology. He reached the 200th episode, which we chatted about yesterday, and wow, talked about the most memorable one, which was not any of us, I'm sorry to say. And he also chatted about the fact that he becoming a publisher. That was something that I don't think was on his bingo card. Christopher and I were chatting about, and Lindsay and Cassidy chatting about what's on our bingo card for 2026 and this idea. So we're all here because of Jonathan. And part of the marketing materials that Giselle created for us, she extrapolated a phrase or a couple of phrases out of our chapter and overlaid that onto our picture, and that's our quote. So I'm going to read them, and Cassidy, Lindsay, Christopher, and myself will briefly chat about what that means to us, because here comes the sales pitch. We're not going to give everything away. You'll have to buy the book. And after the live, I'll make sure to do a posting on Facebook for that link for the book launch on June the 6th. So my quote is, I decided I would take ownership of my healing, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Lindsay's quote, I started to understand that my survival wasn't punishment, it was purpose. Cassidy's quote, that was when I learned not every kind of love is safe. And Christopher's quote, eventually, the part of me that braced for the familiar electricity of winning went quiet and hollow. My journey, this taking ownership of my healing, was because of a near fatal car crash. Being told I'd be in a wheelchair, and this redhead said, no way, and embarked upon a 30-year journey. And although I'm not going to say very much about my chapter, I will give a sneak peek. Surviving was not the miracle. Transformation was. And why did I join John's anthology? Well, I think you already know. I love having a family because I'm labeling people mom and dad and brothers. And it's so rewarding being with others in an anthology, this community, this family, watching them grow, supporting them with their sharing their journeys. First-time co-authors, which Cassidy is a first-time co-author. A lot of others in this anthology are as well. And just having that common thread of working on this project together is just amazing. So as I said, we're going to change it up just a little bit. So Cassidy, I want you to start off, and then Lindsay, and then I will jump in. And then towards the end, I'm going to put all three of you on the hot seat instead of just Christopher. So Cassidy, the mic is yours.
Okay, I've never started before, so this is a
I
first for me.
know, very, very exciting.
Yay. Okay, so I have questions for Lindsay. Feels odd calling you Lindsay. My first one is, how many times have you been a co-author and had other appearances such as podcasts? This will be my fourth anthology book. Two of them are Amazon bestsellers. So I'm just going to put that out there a little bit. And you can find on my Facebook a picture that I created. ChatGPT created a picture for me of all four of my books that I have co-authored. So I'm very proud of them. I have done 4 speaking engagements, and I am on 21 podcasts to date.
Wow.
Yes. Including this one?
No, that does not include a family affair.
Okay.
That does not include our show.
This will be our 4th show.
Okay.
So that
This is a show.
yes, I have to remember to add that in there. And I've appeared on 4 It's a Family Affair shows.
Yes, there we go.
There we go.
Episodes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone listening today wants to be on a podcast, what would you share with them to start? I would say .com. That is where I would.
Lindsay, can you say that again? Because you faded out.
Sorry, yes, absolutely. I would start with podmatch.com. That's where I was referred to. And that is how I got in touch with all of the podcasters that I've been involved with, except for Jonathan's. I met him outside of Podmatch. But when you go there, you put in your information, you tell your story, you say what you're looking for, the kind of shows that you're looking for. And not only can you look at other podcasters and see if you think you're a good fit for their show, they can look at your profile and see if you're a good fit for their show. So I would definitely start there, but I would also talk with authors if you've published, if you've been in a book before, or even if you haven't been in a book, talk with friends or relatives and find out if, people that that listen to podcasts, find out from them if they would be if they were on a podcast, or if they would be willing to share your story from a podcast. That's what I did. And thank you to my Aunt Tish that she's the reason that I'm here today. Really, she's the one that encouraged me to share my story. And now 4 books, 4 episodes, 4 speaking engagements, and 21 podcasts later. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And we joke with each other quite often about how many we each have, so because we're trying to outdo the other one. So it's
and we just cannot put Chris into this mix, because Lordy, that man, he's he's way ahead of us. We've got a lot to learn, Lindsay.
We do. Oh yeah. Okay, so then share with us what your quote means to you and why you joined the movement with John. My quote: I started to understand that my survival wasn't punishment, it was purpose. My survival came from a suicide attempt. And I was in a very dark place with very dark people. And I put my friends and family, and especially Cassidy, through so much. But I came out the other side. I am here for a reason. I am here for a purpose. I did not live that day so I could look at myself in the mirror and get down. I don't look at myself in the mirror anymore and say, why did you live when all these others did not? Why did you live? I look at myself and say, you lived because you have a story to tell. Mm-hmm. You lived because you went through something traumatic that a lot of other men and women are going through to this day, being in an abusive relationship, being in a controlling relationship. And they're trying to find a way out. Unfortunately, I took my way out to the extreme, and thankfully, I'm still here, and I'm here to share it with you. So that's really the reason why I joined Jonathan's movement, is because I felt encouraged to share my deepest, darkest secret, and to prove to everybody that there is a reason behind my life. And Jonathan gave me a platform to share that story and to share that reason. His podcast isn't just a podcast. It is a way for people like all of us to share our deepest, darkest secrets, or even our joys, and hopes that someone out there listening is going through the same thing that we went through, or similar circumstances, and hearing that they can make it through just like we did. So that's why I joined Jonathan's podcast, is to get my story out there and to help people realize that they are enough just how they are. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Yes. I was very embarrassed about my suicide attempt for several years. I was embarrassed about the claw hand that I have, the arm that hardly works, the scars that are on my face. But I look at myself in the mirror and I remember life tried to take me down, but I didn't let it. My scars prove it, and I'm not embarrassed about it anymore. I will stand up in front of anybody and tell them my story. And if you want to know my story, you're going to have to buy the book.
Buy the book.
Embarrassed to ask for help. That is true. Do not be embarrassed to ask for help from anybody. I mean, in all of my appearances, I've made comment that if you want to talk to me, I'm here. Find me on any of the major platforms. Reach out to me. I was there too, and I made it out. I made it out of that dark place, and so can you. And I'm here to help.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, my last question is, what is next for you? I have absolutely no idea. Tomorrow.
Sounds
I
like more
like that.
podcast episodes.
Right? Yes. The competition continues. Yes, absolutely. And I would eventually like to write my own book and share my story. There's about 24 hours of my journey from right after I jumped out of the moving vehicle that I do not remember. My daughter remembers it because she lived it. My husband remembers it because he lived it, but I don't. My brain's blocking it out for a reason.
24 hours in a year.
Right, right, exactly. And I don't remember a lot of that year prior to it, but I do know that I hurt a lot of people. And in order for me to write my own book, I'm going to have to face those demons of the stories, the truths that I don't remember. And I know I'm ready for it, but I haven't pulled that trigger yet because I don't know. There's something there. There's something still in the back of my mind that's telling me that there's a reason why I don't remember that 24 hours immediately following. And until that memory starts coming back on its own, I'm not sure that I'm ready to pull that trigger of writing my own story yet.
It never come back.
And if it doesn't come back, then I probably won't ever write my own book.
It doesn't mean you can't.
That's true. I could write my book and then leave a couple chapters for you and Tim and
Yes,
skip
yes.
over those chapters when I read my book myself. So
You can have your own anthology.
Tim and I have
Are you
our own
getting are you getting like psychological help to address that, or
once a week for about 6 months, and then every other week, and then every couple weeks. And I went for 5 years, religiously for 5 years. And we worked a lot on what happened prior to the incident and then me growing and living afterwards. But never in that time did anything ever come from that 24 hours.
yeah.
And so that's why I kind of chalked it up to my brain is blocking it out for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I died. The old Lindsay died that night. I mean, literally the old Lindsay died that night, and the new Lindsay was born, and that's who I am today. So
I think all three of us have bits and pieces that were blocked out of different points that one of us may not remember and somebody else does.
Right.
And we'll have discussions every once in a while, and I might mention something and mom's like, I don't remember that at all, or she'll mention something and I'm like, I don't remember that at all. Or same with Tim. So it's crazy how your brain does that. Or I'll be in therapy and that was 8 years ago at this point, and like a random thing will happen. I'm like, I don't remember that. That's crazy that happened.
Yeah,
I'll
trauma
just-
really affects everybody differently.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, random things will just make me start crying I think for no reason whatsoever. And then it's one of those things that's like, why is this making me cry? And I get to thinking about it, and okay, well, it's the trauma,
Or you get in this habit of doing daily things that you've coped with for so many years, and then after speaking with someone, you're like, oh, maybe that's not normal, and you get the reason why, and you're like, oh,
Right.
okay, that's not normal. Got it.
right.
That's one of the, yeah,
Therapy all the time.
that's to me, it's one of the sneaky things about abuse. I mean, I feel like the way I grew up, it's like I have more triggers than in a military armory. And I had to learn how to kind of step back from the triggers and kind of assess, like, is this something that I need to actually act on? Do I need to get away from this? Or is this something that I'm just reacting based on previous trauma that isn't actually present here now?
Right.
And it's hard not to like take your past trauma and, you know, bring it to the present. And it's hard not to put that, not necessarily put it on others, but, you know, somebody does something that makes you think of your trauma. And
Yeah.
it's hard not to, you know, hold that on them in any way. Bless my husband and the crap he puts up with me. But it's crazy how that stuff works. It really is.
So Lindsay, let's move on with your line of questioning.
Okay, wow, these questions are going to be for Cassidy. It's interesting interviewing my daughter. So we interviewed you last week being a first-time co-author in the Life's Checkmark. And now that we're about 20 days away from the book launch, how does that make you feel? And explain, how does that make you feel?
I don't know, it's nerve-wracking, honestly. I still, honestly, to this day, I still go kind of back and forth on it. Because like we were just talking about, trauma has a weird thing. It affects everybody differently, and it's honestly not really something I ever planned on discussing with like my brother or my daughter or in detail with any other people than the people who were involved. And out of that whole scenario, Tim, mom, and I were the three that experienced literally everything, the nitty-gritty details. And I got a lot of backlash from that stuff that happened. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of relationships, and of course, gained a lot of trauma. So reliving that is it's kind of difficult. It's different being able to talk to somebody like my mom and discuss, you know, what happened and what we went through, and then putting it on a bigger scale of live streaming and a book, and somebody else is reading my emotions and what I went through, and that's kind of a scary thing. And I think that's trauma related because of the amount of people I lost and relationships and friends and backlash I had. I think it's just kind of a scary thing to think about who's going to be upset with me, who's going to be disappointed, you know, not compare myself to other people. And so it's exciting. I could only hope that it helps somebody, even if it's one person. I just hope it's beneficial to someone. And I hope I hope God puts it in the hands of somebody who needs it.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. So share with us what your and why you joined Jonathan's movement. And I'm going to take a page from Tish that you cannot use the same answer that you've been doing, where Tish and I pushed you into it.
In reality, you did, but we'll get that out of the way. My quote, that was when I learned not every kind of love is safe. I'm sure from the little discussion we've had in this episode and past ones, you can tell that there was strained relationship between mom and I, Lindsay and I. Of course, if you want more depth, you'll have to get the book so you can read her chapter. Yes. So you can read her chapter and what she went through and her side of it and my side of it as her 16-year-old daughter at the time. But
that was one of the prime examples of learning that not all love is safe. Just because somebody needs you or somebody wants you or somebody seems or acts like they need everything from you doesn't mean that it's love. Just because they're in a position where they should love you doesn't mean that they do. And I'm not saying at all mom didn't love me. She definitely did, but she had her own issues and her own way of showing it. And I didn't show up the best in those times either. So it's neither one of us are at fault for the other one. But between that and relationships I had at the time, you know, of people showing me or telling me that I love you, but then they're treating me poorly and they're talking poorly about me. And just because someone says it doesn't mean it's true. And
Huge.
uh, yeah, and like I've mentioned before, my daughter is the real proof to me of what love is. Unconditional, no strings attached. She's loved me since day one. It just came naturally for her. I've loved her since day one, and there wasn't any rhyme or reason for it other than she's mine. And um, her and God is something that is never going to leave me. He will be with me no matter what, no matter what mistakes I make. And so they've really been able to kind of clarify for me what real love is and kind of be able to reestablish that for me so I can work on it moving forward. And then joining Jonathan's podcast or book, other than the obvious, I just want to help somebody. I hope that, like I said, God puts it in someone's hands that really needs it, whether they read the book or they message me or they message Lindsay or read the book and message people. You know, I hope somebody can see that there's a brighter side to it and that what you're going through right now, um, whether it be your darkest moment, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. So keep pushing and surround yourself with people that are wanting to help you rather than take advantage of you and move on from there. Really.
I will tell you that once you get that very first person that messages you and says, I read your story, me too, it changes you
Yes.
because it did me. It changed me big time. Me
Yes.
too, and thank you, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So, what is next for you in your writing or speaking career?
Tomorrow.
We
I
need to
don't know.
have tomorrow, the song playing.
Right?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have anything planned. It's really just whatever God throws my way. If somebody decides they wanted to message me or talk to me about my story, or hey, I like you said, I read your story, me too. I want more information, you know, however that comes about. Uh, Nothing planned, just however nature takes its course.
Whatever falls into your lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever Mom and Aunt Tish come up with.
We're gonna have to quit doing that.
Yeah, or brother Christopher, because that man, he's connected. Let me tell you, our brother is connected.
Mom has got to quit voluntelling me for things.
Oh, that's awesome. Totally awesome. So, Christopher, Lindsay and Cassidy and I this is our fourth interview, and we have thoroughly enjoyed it. And having you on with us as a lone person, because we've had quite a crowd that we've been interviewing. And what I really like about having you here is learning about you and everyone needs to go to Christopher J. Wesley, WESLEY.com and learn about our brother. Wow. Just amazing. I have listened to all of the co-authors' podcasts, and something struck me, slapped me upside the head, what you said on your podcast. And I want you to tell all of us and keep it brief.
Okay.
Because folks will have to message you if they want more, like me and Cassidy and Lindsay. We might have to have a special Zoom.
Yeah.
What happens when sensitivity becomes your secret superpower?
There's this myth that being strong is being able to stand on your own. That is not the case. And I say that as someone who has done that on multiple occasions under very, very difficult circumstances. That kind of lonely place is where you wind up grinding yourself down. Speaking as someone who also has been close to suicide twice. And when you open yourself up and you're able to bring people in and you understand how to responsibly be vulnerable and bring people into your world, it relieves some of the stress and pressures that the world puts on you. Even when the people around you can't solve your problems, they still lift you up in other ways that helps you get through. But first, to get there, you have to know how to be soft and allow that love, that support in.
Wow. That kind of takes your breath away when you think of the magnitude of the sensitivity of what you just shared. So your quote, tell us what that means to you. And if you want to say it again, or if you'd like me to read it again, just let me know.
Oh, I remember. Or actually, say it again just for the audience.
Eventually, the part of me that braced for the familiar electricity of winning went quiet and hollow.
So the story I tell in the anthology is a point in life where, as a teenager, I understood that the decision that was in front of me was something that was going to change the trajectory of my life. And if I had gone in the direction of winning based on the way I was raised to understand winning in an abusive household that was not just physically abusive, but also psychologically, that would be the path that I would continue to take. That would be the slippery slope that I would never be able to come back from. The fact that I chose differently set me up to literally be here all these years later.
Wow. So this next question, which is going to be a little difficult for me to ask. You wrote on your website, again, ChristopherJWesley.com, when the fire takes everything, something new can rise from the ashes. And let me share for the audience sake, and God bless you, Christopher, for still being here with us. January 7th, the Eaton fire in California took 7,000 structures that were confirmed as destroyed or damaged, which included Christopher's home and when you go out to his website, you will see the treasure trove of who he was, and many of his original artworks and other prized items were damaged. So experiencing a fire is one thing. Experiencing life after that. And share with us your statement that when fire takes everything, something new can rise. Tell us what has risen from the ashes for you.
I've had to shift parts of my identity. Like some of the things that were lost in that fire was the first guitar I ever learned on. And this is not the story in the anthology, but at the age of 14, picking up the electric guitar was the first time in my life where I saw a future for myself, other than jail or just being killed.
Mhm.
And losing that instrument was losing a very big chunk of my identity. There was a stretch after my first suicide, very close to suicide. I planned it, actually had the gun to my head, but talked myself down before pulling the trigger. Following that, my recovery from that put me in working full time and going to school full time. There was a sketch that I had made called The Stand, and it was just it was it was an illustration of the legs of an Olympic sprinter, and it was symbolic not just of surviving the suicide, but going to school full time and working full time. I survived off of between 3 and 4 hours sleep a night for about 3 years, and managed to graduate valedictorian.
Wow.
That
Wow.
that illustration represented for me that effort. So along with all the regular things that we lost, that like I have relationships with all those things, those two really hit hard. And it's us humans, we like to assign meaning to things, and especially big things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the meaning that I assigned to the fire was on the other side of that. I don't need those things anymore to identify with what I'm able to hold, both within my own life, but the space I'm able to hold for the people around me that I care about. And it has given me a different perspective in regards to like what rooms I want to be in, what people I want to associate with. And that is really what brought me here. It was that intentional choice to put myself in more rooms with heartfelt, heart-led people that are going out in the world and making it a better place.
Wow. We are so honored and blessed, and just love that you are here with us.
Thank you.
Mom and dad. Here with us, mom and dad. Why did you join the movement with John?
I really love Jonathan's energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's this purity to his light. And people like that, they assemble more. They surround themselves with people like that, and especially an effort like this. And it was just something that I felt compelled to be a part of. I wanted to be in this specific tribe and this anthology, and part of that light going out into the world.
Wow. Yes, Jonathan is a circle of energy and a spitfire. He is something else. So for the next few minutes, and before we do that, one of my most favorite books, one of my most favorite authors, Dr. Bob Nelson, in his book Ubuntu.
Mm.
If you don't know about it, look it up. I am because we are. And so that's Jonathan. He just did not do a podcast and just did not publish an anthology. He definitely brought together a circle. And so that's a great segue into my question for all of you, and just short answers. So Christopher.
Yeah.
How, and then we'll do Cassidy and then Lindsay. How important is a circle of influence in your life when overcoming life's challenges down that path we are on?
It's critical. And this is something like just across the board. I mean, losing our entire community to a wildfire, it is the community that is lifting everyone up. It's not our elected officials, and that's across the board, from the state, the city, the county. We are doing for ourselves as a community, and that is a theme that I see echoing just across everything. I see that in the job marketplace. I see that in circles of friends, in church communities. That is the lifeblood I see everywhere.
Cassidy, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like he had that really well said. I think it's extremely important to have a positive circle of influence in your life when you're trying to overcome challenges, because without one, it's going to be really hard to overcome those challenges on your own. And if you don't have a positive influence, it can make it nearly impossible to overcome those challenges. So I think it's extremely important to surround yourself with people that are positive influences, that are doing nothing but helping you achieve your goals and move forward.
Yes. Lindsay?
For me, after my attempt, it was crucial that I had a circle of influence. I'm the third oldest of 9. And of my 8 siblings, 0 wanted anything to do with me. Of my family, the 2 you see here is pretty much all the family that I had for, and even with Cassidy, we had a strained relationship for a number of years after my attempt. Other than my now husband, who at the time was, of course, my boyfriend, but I mean, he was really, besides Tim and my Aunt Tish, they were my rocks immediately following and for several weeks and several years afterwards. But it was my husband's family that took me in and accepted me, scars and all, mistakes and all. And they're my family now. You know, they're closer to me than my own blood family is. And that's hard to say because I am the third oldest of 9, and there are many nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles. And I do have relationship with several of my aunts. Not as close as what Tish and I have, because we talk every day.
Yes, your favorite aunt.
You know, that circle is absolutely crucial for anyone, whether they're going through good times or bad.
Awesome. Yes, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. I hear that a lot from, and I know Lindsay, you've said it, and Christopher, I know he has said it, and Cassidy and I have said it. And we talked about, for the first time authors, last week, we talked about taking that first step to become a first time author, but that's not all of it. It's sharing your story, period. And it took me 30 years to share my story because I was naturally focused on not being in a wheelchair, focused on life, focused on getting by. And then just one day, someone watching them and listening to them and just asking, okay, what does that include? So we've all been through that. And Christopher, with your many accomplishments, you've had that. We've all had that first step of, oh, okay, what do we do? So tell everyone, and I'll call on all three of you again, 3 things. Now, Lindsay, you've already said one earlier, so you can't use it again. That the podmatch.com.
Okay.
We're gonna pick on you like we do Cassidy. And so, Lindsay, share 3 things that the words of wisdom to help someone step out and share their story.
Well, I'm going to go back to the quote. Sorry, we've got a fly attacking us. So if you see us swatting at something, that's why. Gotta love live stream. I'm going to go to my quote that I have on the back of my shirts because I think it really. I'll say it and I'll let you decide what it says to you. You are enough. No more proving, no more pretending, just unapologetically you. You don't have to be anything spectacular to be able to share your story. You don't have to be an award-winning author. You don't have to be the president of the United States. You just need to be unapologetic of who you are and where you've been and where you are now. And so for me, those would be my words of wisdom is, just take the leap, trust in your gut, trust in your faith, and and then reach out to someone who listens to podcasts, who might have an idea of who you should reach out to. Maybe they know of a really good podcaster that they think your story would be good for. And then, just start small. Start by sharing a little bit more, and then, within 30 days, 90 days, or even a year, you could be in your own book and sharing more of your story than you ever thought that you ever would, ever.
Cassidy?
I'll kind of just piggyback off of that a little bit. I think first and foremost, you just need to accept your story, accept what you've been through, and come to terms with it. Really, it doesn't mean that you have to forgive or forget, of anything like that. I think you just need to realize where you've been, what you've done, and accept that within yourself, and then get in the habit of talking about it, whether it's to a friend or family member or significant other or a therapist, some random person at the grocery store. I don't know. But the more comfortable you get talking about it, the easier it's going to be for you to be willing to share it in a book or on a podcast or a larger setting. And once you get comfortable with that, then I think you should start looking into who you can go talk to, who can get you in connection with a podcaster, or like she said, Podmatch, or Tisch or Lindsay. Christopher, they all have really good contacts of people that would be able to help you with that, and decide where you want to take your story from there, depending on who you want to help and where you want to see it go.
Awesome. Christopher?
I would say the first thing is realization that expression is medicine. This is something that I've taught a painting class to cancer patients. And the goal was not to teach them how to paint. It was to give them an outlet to express everything they're feeling without having to justify it.
Wow.
The only rule for this is, so long as it's honest, it's valid and worthy. And you do not have to share it with anybody. You get to choose if you share it with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do decide to share things, then I would say step 2 is curate the people you share it with. You don't have to share it with people you think may not be supportive. You can work your way up to it if you ever share it with them at all. And as was said before, you work your way up. You start small if you're going to share things, and you kind of adjust, because as you start sharing, you see relationships shift on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to adjust to that change in pressure in your life. And you will get used to it. You will be able to do more, and you'll have a better sense of when to share what and where and with who. And then from there, then you reach out to people who can connect you to the outlets that you're looking to share with. And that can be in things that people don't even associate with you, whether it's painting or writing, poetry, music, anything. It doesn't have to be the way people already see you. It's whatever expression is coming out of you in an authentic manner.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What a great way to end the episode, the show. Wow. Yes, you don't have to be a perfect speaker. You don't have to be a perfect writer. You speak from your heart. You do have the perfect message. So awesome. I want to thank everyone for joining today. Christopher, thank you for sharing some, I thought I was going to lose it there for a minute. Some deep emotional life happenings. And if there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know.
I really enjoyed being here and engaging in this conversation. I actually did enjoy it, even though we went a little deep and got a little touchy-feely with the emotions there. But yeah, I feel blessed that I got a chance to talk with all three of you
Awesome.
today.
Well, and as Cassidy will attest to, Lindsay and I, we are our own cheerleader, the coach, and not just the coach in the term of what we think coaches are, but the coach that says you're tired. Okay, everyone's tired. You don't want to get up? All right, nobody wants to get up. Do it anyway. All right. Any last words from any of the family here?
Think so. I had a blast.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, it was great. Well, thank you, everyone. And I will be sharing the link to the book launch. Everyone needs to join that book launch. It will be so much fun. June the 6th, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. And then, of course, our buy the book. All right. Well, have a great rest of the day. And you guys just hang in there. Love you much. And we will we'll be hopefully doing another one soon. So take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.